Hey guys, Vladimir here with Desktop Makes. Last video I showed you how to import and modify an STL file within Fusion 360. This time we're going to do a similar thing, but we're going to choose a model that has a very high poly count. So one of the reasons that the last video went so smooth was because we had this model here, the low poly Rhino. Today we're going to go ahead and grab this Yoda by Bemosh. Take a look at this thing. It's 147 megabytes. It's a beautiful model. This was one of, I remember my first models I printed when I first had built my BREP 3D printer many years ago. And I remember being very proud once this thing came out of my printer. But take a look at the difference between this 147 megabytes and the Rhino at just 1 megabyte for the whole thing. So let's see how Fusion's able to handle this. I've already downloaded it, so I'm going to go ahead and open up Fusion. We're going to go to Insert, Insert Mesh, and we'll grab our Yoda bust. So this is going to take a little bit to actually get it imported here, just because it's such a huge file. So depending on the machine you've got, it might take a while. So let's bring that back. Okay, so there it is. I'm not going to manipulate it in any way. I'm just going to click OK. And then check this out. I'm going to zoom in and look at the size of these triangles. I mean, these things are tiny. Look how many there are. So, all right, let's see what we can do with this. So if I click here and I want to convert it to a BREP. So we'll do that first. Let's try to convert this into a solid body to see what happens. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to my browser here, right click and choose Do Not Capture Design History. Click Continue, right click, and now I get the option to go to Mesh to BREP. So watch what happens when I click that. It's going to give me this option. My operation is going to be new body, so I'm just going to click OK. And then it's going to tell me, it says, warning, this mesh contains a large number of facets. Mesh surface content facets equals 614,278. Conversion is aborted. Basically, it says there's way too many facets in this thing. I'm not even going to bother. We're going to abort this. So Fusion, what I found out, it likes to have no more than 10,000 facets. That's where it's happy. Any more than that, you may have some issues. So we've got 614,000 little triangles there, and we've got to bring that down to 10,000. So there is a way to do that. So what we're going to do is bring this into our mesh workspace. So let's turn our timeline back on. I'm going to go back here and go to Capture Design History. And this is something I should have showed you last time. If you try to click and go to Edit, it's going to give you a message that you have to turn on your mesh workspace option. I think this is something that's sort of a trial version, so Fusion is not just automatically turning it on. They're giving you a chance to opt in. So the way to do that is just you go up to your name up here on the right hand side, go down to Preference, and then under the Preview tab, you're going to make sure that Mesh Workspace is checked, and then you click Apply. Click OK, and then once you do that, you should be able to right click and then just choose Edit. Then that's going to bring you to your mesh working environment, which before was the model working environment. So what we're going to do is we're going to select our model. So let's go ahead and choose Select and choose Window Selection. And we'll just go ahead and draw a box around our entire Yoda. And again, this is acting a little slow just because there's so much here. Make sure the whole thing is selected. Just kind of flip it around. If not, if you just selected the front, you may want to go to your selection filters and make sure Select Through option is checked. Okay, then we're going to go to Modify, and we're going to go to Reduce. And you'll get this dialog box, and you can play around with these to see different results that you can get. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it on Adaptive, and then over here I have a option to choose Density, Face Count, or Tolerance. So I'm going to keep it at Face Count, and I'm going to go down. You can see I can drag this slider up to our 600,000 down to 0. Let's bring this to 9,000. I know I said 10,000, but I found out it tends to sort of overestimate. This is not the exact number you're going to get. So we'll put that in and see what happens. So we'll click 9,000 and then we're going to click OK. So again, this is going to take a little while for this conversion to happen. But the great thing about this is that before this, you would usually have to export your model and then bring it into another software like Mesh Mixer or what's the other one, Autodesk Remake, and use that to bring down or to reduce it, and then export it out of there and then re-import it back into Fusion to be able to work with it. So having the ability to do this all in one software is really great. So alright, for some reason when it's done it like just kicks me out. Well, it doesn't kick me out, it just reduces Fusion. So okay, let's bring this back. And there's our Yoda now with much bigger triangles there. So we can see we were able to reduce that count. And I mean, honestly, we didn't really lose much detail. We're going to be 3D printing this anyway, so I doubt you'll be able to see a difference when you actually print this, if you were to print this one as opposed to the one with 500,000 facets. I mean, at some point, there's really no advantage of having that much detail. So we're going to take this and we're just going to go, oh, I think it's still working. So let me give it another minute. I lost my, here, I'll just click Finish Mesh. Okay, that worked. Okay, so now, we're still a mesh, right? We're not solid yet. So what I'm going to do, I can try to right click again. In order to convert this to a solid, I have to click here and go down to Do Not Capture Design History, click Continue. Now if I right click, I can go Mesh to BREP, keep it as New Body, and click OK. Now it's going to give me a warning, because remember how I told you I picked 9,000 facets? Well, it actually is saying, look, you have 10,520. So that's what I was saying. It tends to kind of overestimate. So what it tells you is you're over 10,000, conversion is not recommended. Do you want to proceed? So it doesn't abort, but it kind of gives you an option saying this isn't recommended. I think I'm going to be okay, so I'm just going to click OK and let that work for a little bit. So basically I should have probably selected like 8,000 or 8,500 in order to get me sort of right under that 10,000. But I have a feeling we'll be fine. So let's just give this another second and hopefully it doesn't prove me wrong. Okay, so here's our model, our solid body. So now we can do whatever we want, right? We can go ahead and manipulate this as in the other way that we would a solid body in Fusion. So why don't we go ahead and pierce Yoda's ear? So I'm just gonna grab the circle tool or a sketch tool, and let's just draw a sketch right on this this face right here. So just grab a circle here, stop sketch, and let's extrude that in. So I'll go ahead, choose distance all. Oh, actually, all will go all the way through. I don't want that. We'll go to distance. Let's bring that in. Go right there. Oh, now I'll just click OK. And there we go. We have a Yoda with an ear pierced. So that's basically it. Just kind of wanted to show you guys how to go ahead and do that. So basically you bring the model into Fusion, you go into your mesh working environment, you're going to reduce the number of facets, and then you're going to bring it back out. Don't forget to go ahead and turn on or turn off your design history when you're doing this, and then you can go ahead and convert this back to or convert it to a solid body, and then you're ready to start manipulating it just as you would any solid form. And don't forget, actually I should have turned my timeline feature back on so that the actual circle extrusion would actually appear here. So now I can just be ready to continue modeling. So alright guys, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, just go ahead and leave it on the comments below. Actually, let's go ahead and send this to the printer and see what it looks like. So this will open up my MakerBot, and there it is, right on my build plate. Alright, don't forget to hit like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you want to see more. And I have to recommend my design course, Designing for 3D Printing with Fusion 360. I'll put a link below, and go ahead and check that out as well. Alright guys, take care. Wait, don't leave yet. So after making the bold claim that you're really not going to see much of a difference once you print out the reduced model, I thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and test it out. So I went ahead and printed the two different Yoda models, and so let's take a look and see what our results were. So okay, right off the bat, I gotta admit, I guess I really underestimated the quality that my printer is able to pick up, because if you look close enough you can actually see some detail that we lost in the reduced version. For example, if you look just under the eye here, and if you look on, I guess I should point out that I've got the reduced version on the left and the original STL file on the right. So if we look under the eyebrow here on the original file, you can actually make out a few more wrinkles that you just don't pick up here. You know, it's not that big or that much of a reduction or loss of quality, but if you look closely enough you will see a few different areas. And I mean, this model was a very ambitious model because there's just so much detail here, a lot of wrinkles, and just a lot going on here. But a couple things, other things I will point out is on the reduced version, this was interesting. The eye actually came out hollow, and I'm not sure why that happened. I'll have to take a look back at the model to see why. You can see here on the original version it's solid, which this is actually a pretty cool effect, but it may not be exactly what you're looking for. So that's something you know, to consider. So this is the reduced version, and I know that because the ear is pierced. You can see that there. Let's see, what else? Oh, one more thing. On the bottom, because of all those weird triangles going on, it actually didn't print completely flat. You can see here there's this triangle here that it missed, and it actually didn't print it until either the second or third layer. So that's another thing, but that's easy to fix actually. We'll jump right into Fusion and I'll show you how we can fix that. But it does create sort of this weird tool path on that original, that first layer. Let me see. What else? Besides that, there's really not much difference here. Like I said, this was an ambitious model to try to tackle. I'm gonna play around with this some more. I feel that there's some more optimization that we can do there. There's got to be a way, for example, playing with the settings, that we should be able to reduce the number of facets without compromising quality. I'm gonna actually experiment with this a lot more, and I'll do a follow-up video to show you guys what I found. So let's go ahead now and go back into Fusion, and I'm just going to quickly show you how to fix that bottom plane to get just a nice flat plane on there. Okay, we're back in Fusion, and right away I can see what the issue was with the eyes. So if I expand bodies here, I see that I have three separate bodies. If I uncheck body 3, which is my main body, that leaves me with two spheres, which are my eyeballs. So I'll bring that back on and kind of show you guys, zoom in here, and if I delete, these spheres here, we see that our eyeballs are missing. So what happened was when I sent this to the printer, I chose body 3 and didn't choose the eyeballs to go with it. Which, that's an easy fix. All I have to do is combine those into one body and that'll take care of it. The other issue was the bottom here, that I wanted to just get rid of all these triangles and just give me one flat plane. And normally I would just go ahead and create an offset plane or some type of splitting tool here and split this, split a little bit off the bottom to just give me a smooth bottom. However, that's not working here. It's giving me an error when I do that. So what I'm going to do is kind of rewind a little bit, and I'll show you sort of the way that I've kind of figured out how to approach this. So I'm just going to go ahead and select these 3 bodies here and click remove. That's going to leave me with my mesh. So when I converted that mesh to a BREP, it didn't get rid of the mesh. It kept it there. It just created solids out of it. So I'm going to go back to that original mesh and then choose, right click and choose edit. Now I'm back to, or I'm into this mesh workspace. And so what I should have done from the beginning is at this point I could have gone into and just done modify and do a plane cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose Yoda as my mesh body. As far as my plane, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my origin here, just grab that bottom plane, and then I can go ahead and grab this slider. I can move it up or down to see how much I want to cut. I'm just gonna go up a little bit. In fact, I'll go ahead and just, let's enter in 1 millimeter. You know, I just need a flat surface, so I could actually just do like 0.2 if you don't want to lose too much from that bottom plane. But that's fine. I'm just going to click OK here. I'm going to keep it as trim, and fill type I'm going to choose uniform. Actually, let me show you guys. If you choose no fill, it'll actually do a hollow. So could be, I guess, neat for vases. So we're going to go ahead and choose uniform, click OK. That's going to leave me with a much nicer looking bottom, and then I'm going to click finish mesh. And now that brings me back to our modeling environment, and I'm still working with our mesh body, right? So I'm going to go ahead and if I right click, I don't get that option to convert it to a BREP, so I have to first stop my capture of design history, and then I can go in and choose mesh to BREP. I'm going to click OK. Click OK for the warning, and this will then convert this, or create a body out of this mesh. So right here I see it gave me a body, called it body 4, and there we go, and that's the flat bottom I have there. Now I can go ahead and send this to the printer like this. I'm not sure exactly, actually I didn't try it to see how well that's going to translate, if it's going to create a weird toolpath or not. But just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and create, I'm going to split this actually, just to give me just a, one flat profile in that bottom instead of all those triangles. So let's go ahead and we'll create an offset plane. So I'm basically going to do the same thing I did within that mesh environment. So I chose offset plane, and then I'm going to go ahead, and it tells me to pick my plane. So let's do the origin again. I'm going to grab that bottom plane, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, drag this arrow up until I see that this plane here starts cutting my body. And again, I'll just do 1 millimeter there. Actually 1 millimeter. Let me see, where will it put me? I can't even see it. No, I don't want to do 1 millimeter because that actually, let me see if I do 0. I'm just going to base this by eyesight. So we're at 2. Let me just see how it's right here. It shows me where it's going to cut. So you want to make sure it's actually cutting your model. If it's too low, you're going to get an error. So actually, the reason I didn't want to go with 1 is because 1 is actually right there. Because remember, I already cut 1 off. So if I go 1, it's right at the bottom. So I got to go a little more than 1. So let's do 1.2. and I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to go into modify split body, choose my body to split, which is going to be the Yoda, and my splitting tool is going to be that construction plane I just created. So I'm going to just select it off my browser, and you can see it here. If I turn, you can see it turns it pink. So that's the plane I'm going to use, and I'm going to click OK. Now keep an eye here into my number of bodies. So I'm going to go from, I have body 4, and that actually increases. And because of all the different triangles going on there, it actually gives me a bunch of bodies, which I can turn on and off. Now, 2 of these are my eyeballs, so let's remember those. That's body 7 and 6. And body 5 is my main body. So why don't we go ahead and name these just to make it easier to work with. So we'll call this main body. Body 4, that's that bottom part here that we just splitted. So we can go ahead and just remove that because that's the part I don't need. So I'm gonna go down and choose, let's try it again. It only, you know what, it's giving me the option only to delete because I don't have, I didn't turn my design history back on. So let's do capture design history again. Now it gives me remove. Okay. You usually want to go with remove instead of delete, just because when you do delete, it can cause errors because you can have sort of different when you're working with parametric modeling. One design effect is based off the other, so choosing delete is usually not a good idea. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and choose remove, and that leaves me with that flat bottom there. So now I know I have my main body and my 2 eyes there. So let's combine those eyes. So I'm gonna go to modify, combine, target body is my main body, and my tool body, I'm just gonna select one eyeball here, click use operation as join, click OK, and then I'm gonna right click and do that repeat command, target body, and then my tool body is going to be this other eye. So I'm going to click join, click OK, and I should just be left with one main body here. So okay, so that's it, and that solves that flat bottom issue, and it also, get rid of everything else, also combines the eyes. So alright, so let's see how this will look if I send it to my 3D printer. Oh, also, it's kind of sometimes hard to see the detail of your drawing with all these little lines there, but you can go to visual style and just choose shaded, and that kind of gives you a better representation of what your model looks like. So okay, we'll go to 3D print, choose my model, I'm going to send it to the MakerBot, click OK, and there is our model. Okay, that was a little more involved than I was anticipating, and I actually thought of just choosing a simpler model just to make the whole tutorial go a little smoother. But then I thought against it because, you know what, these are the issues you're going to face when you're working with an STL file. For one, you're at the mercy of the designer, and there can be all sorts of issues with the model that you're going to try to tweak. So at the end of the day, having these tools all in one package just makes the workflow go so much smoother. This is still sort of in beta mode, so I'm still trying to figure things out and try to see what the best workflow is. So I'll be working with it a little more, and if I can come up with a better workflow, I'll do an update to the tutorial. Or if any of you guys know a simpler workflow, all staying within Fusion, just trying to avoid going to other softwares and then re-importing it back, let me know. So I hope you guys enjoy that, and let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys with the next tutorial.